We got our Weapon X, we got our lives, and we got our DVDs. Let's talk about it. There's going to be another Who Dat X-Men sequence in part of this when we get a big DVD case. Previously, if you guys didn't catch that after credit scene, it featured your boy Captain America and Black Widow looking great with the haircut. They brought Logan some information that he may need about the Canadian government, and then just handing it out in manila folders. This is how you know Captain America was real about this, is that he went and broke I don't know how many laws to deliver this information to essentially a foreign asset, to go do terrorism or whatever on a military base in Canada. I wonder if any of those words are going to get me in trouble for saying them so early in the video, but that's what happened here in the cartoon that we all watched. We didn't get many changes to the OP this time. I was genuinely having my fingers crossed and hoping it was going to be a Weapon X intro. That's probably too many letters for the X-Men logo at the beginning. You didn't even have to put Weapon X as the title. You could have just made new nifty intros for the other guys. But I understand, especially since Kane didn't last long anyway, why you wouldn't do that, because what's the point? We ain't going to have all these guys by the end of this episode. We're not going to put that much effort into animating an opening for him, but we do get a brown Wolverine costume, which I feel wasn't there before. Like, I feel in my brain and in my heart that his costume was blue previously in the OP. Great to see him in the brown. I don't remember Forge having one either, but it's badass. Just when me and my friends were like, where is all the Weapon X content? They were like, all right. Here's some Weapon X guys running around doing Weapon X stuff. And I was like, thank you. Was this so hard? Yes, animation is very hard, actually. My boy Sabretooth was here. You know I was ready, and I was on board when I saw my boy Sabretooth. It's Weapon X. I knew he was going to be here. But Morph is right. Why is he here? They even go straight up, hey, you know Lady Deathstrike? Here's her backstory a little bit. Here's a truncated version of that for people who aren't aware that these two used to date. And then they brought it up again in the episode First Off with Morph. These two love fighting in the sewer, boy. I love Morph's sinister intro part. It's so cool and makes me so scared for poor Morph. Remember, Sinister's out there. They bring up this Sinister altercation later, but it's interesting to remember he's always there, lurking. The scene is great. I love how they're all just hanging out and gossiping and telling old war stories. And Kane is voiced by what sounds like Rexplode. Is that his name? Rexplosion from Invincible, which I will definitely be covering here. I was covering it previously on my podcast, which you can find here, called Pop Yak, where I covered the first couple seasons of Invincible, and we're going to continue them on in video form, so get excited. I'm going to do that after we're done with X-Men. It's always good to hear his voice. He's also in America the Motion Picture. If you haven't seen that movie, it's very funny. It's definitely a great movie to watch for the 4th of July, even though, alas, we've passed that already. Next year, put it on your calendar for next year. Watch America the Motion Picture. I also love the way he looks here. He looks exactly the way he would have looked in the comic books at this time. Jerry curl and all. Also, man, Maverick's mask looks so dope. I'm a big Sabretooth fan. Since I always talk about Marvel vs. Capcom in these, I have to bring up that Sabretooth is one of my mains in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'm quite nasty with him, Jill, and Cyclops. It is not even funny. So I was really delighted to see him in this show, and I was super delighted to hear that voice again. It's always great to hear Sabretooth whip out a Wolverine, you little runt. It's a great way to open a movie if you were to have a movie about a ragtag group like this. And I'm comparing it to a movie like, let's say, Suicide Squad, which tried to do the same thing, but didn't do a great job introducing any of the characters or making you interested in any of them. This one gave you a little bit of snippets about everybody's backstory, little bits of drama, a little bit of war story, and they even got to show you what Kane's ability is. Because, well, he ain't gonna last long, so they were like, hey, we might as well make him whip out some guns out of his body and show you what he can do. That's his power, by the way. He can generate weapons like that. Kind of like Apocalypse, which is very funny because he is one of Cable's friends. It's interesting that he's here. I wonder if Cable sent him, or if him and Cable aren't on speaking terms, considering things that I don't want to spoil in case they go into his backstory. But probably not. He's dead. He is very dead. The amount of graphic violence and death in this episode was wild, considering, you know, it's a Disney cartoon. And remember, this was on Fox Kids. They would never get away with this. It's also super good to see Lady Deathstrike in her original costume. I love her claws. I love her little hat. She looks fantastic. I know Morph is talking crap about Sabretooth's really funny costume as a kid because the colors weren't great. I always figured this man is walking around naked. That's his skin. But no, he's wearing gloves. That's a costume. And he even mentions it here, like, don't talk crap about my costume. I'm serving. Real quick, I had to show you guys my favorite screenshot of the episode. Look at how cute Sabretooth is. Why'd they make him so cute? He's a murderer. I love him so much. Me and my buds were all sitting around talking about the group that Wolverine has put together here. And yeah, it's Weapon X. But why Sabretooth? This man done killed your girlfriend on your birthday, and every year on your birthday shows up to remind you that he killed your girlfriend on your birthday. But I get why. He wants a team of people with an axe to grind against people that ain't him. But then what happens when that axe to grind is no longer there to grind? Cornelius is dead. Sabretooth was really quick to be done with his goal that he set out here to achieve. Well, time to kill the runt! Because why not? Probably because it's not his birthday. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe Sabretooth and him have signed a pact, a contract if you will. You can only try to kill me on my birthday. Any other day we gotta be cool. And you have to bring me a chocolate cake. Those are the rules. That cake is even in the old Wolverine video game. You can find it as a Portal reference somewhere. Guess what day it is, Wolverine? I don't know how the guy does Sabretooth's voice, because I'm not gonna have a voice by the end of this. Morph turns into Sasquatch and gives us what we want. We want to see Wolverine and Sasquatch and Sabretooth fighting in the snow. This is what we came here for. Unfortunately, there was no Hulk also, which would have made this doubly good. We do get to see Wolverine looking at his claws and his reflection like we do on that cover. But on that cover, it's Wolverine looking at his claws and he sees the Hulk in the reflection of his claws, which is interesting because at the end of the episode, he's doing that because Morph pities him for thinking that he's only an animal that can destroy. I'm sure he feels pretty Bruce Banner right now. Sabretooth is here for the superhero action shot. It's like riding a bike, eh, Victor? I think it's really cool that they chose to give Cornelius the old anime, you can't see his eyes and the harsh reflection because he's evil trope, but they do it because he's having a flashlight shine in his face. That's what would happen. But it also gives you a perfect excuse to give him evil anime reflection glasses. Fantastic animation choice here. Also, yeah, Cornelius has hair. Me and my friends were talking about that. Maybe Cornelius invented a hair system that works. And considering they mess around with mutants with healing factors a lot down here, I could see him doing something with those cells for making hair cells grow back. Look at Wolverine. Morph turns into Puck here, and Puck is a member of Alpha Flight, which is a team of essentially Canadian Avengers. His name is Puck, isn't that cute? Like hockey Puck? His whole thing is that he can bounce around and like, well, what happens here? Although Morph decides to descend as the Thing, which is pretty dope. I love that idea. I love the way they make Morph use their powers in this one. It makes it hard to tell what you're gonna get hit with next. Thor's hammer? The Loki Pokey Stick? War Machine's Proton Cannon? We practically got 2 Proton Cannons in this episode anyway. Just give me what I want. Just put something from Marvel vs. Capcom in each episode and I'll be happy. Speaking of things from Marvel vs. Capcom, we do get Bone Claw Wolverine and Sabretooth out here, so I'm living my best life. I love the shout out to all the Canadian heroes in this episode. It feels like Morph watched a biopic before coming up here and was like, I have the perfect Rolodex of characters to turn into. They'll make Wolverine so happy that I know about all his little Canadian heroes. I just started tanking with the Thing, so seeing the Thing in this episode was pretty great, I'm not gonna lie. I also really like seeing that the Brood is in here because it'll be that much better when they introduce the character of Brew, who is a Brood mutant. One of these things, but he's a mutant, and therefore he's kind of an anthropomorphic Brood. That's his mutation. And Brew is so smart and tiny. I would love to see how they get on with him now that they've spilled so much green glowing blood. I love that the blood is this glowing green. It gives alien because they're Marvel's xenomorphs. Even though I think they can just do that now, right? I love the glow effect that they're using in this episode. I recently saw a post somewhere about this glow effect and the trick they used to achieve it. It's so cool to see that post, but some of the fluorescent lights have that effect as well. While we're down here, Morph gets read to filth by Lady Deathstrike, who knows that there's a crush going on. You know it ain't gonna work out, right? And oh boy, this will not work out. Things get so heartbreaking in this episode for poor Morph. But it turns out that in House of M, he ends up with Mystique, so maybe you have a chance. But he's only with Mystique because Mystique can turn into Jean Grey whenever. Oh, poor Morph. Alright, now it's time to talk about these DVDs. So first up is X-23, which we all know X-23, right? She's the little girl with the Wolverine powers. Essentially a clone of him. She has a set of 2 wrist claws in each arm, and then she has 1 little toe claw. Well, it's not little, it's about the same size, but yeah, she has 3 claws. They're just distributed differently. Which also happens to Wolverine's son, Dakin. He gets claws that are also distributed really fun. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't really know who Ajax is. The name is bouncing around in my skull, like I should know who that is, but I can't remember. And I'm not gonna look it up. I wanna do this off the top of my head, see how many I can get. Aurora is Northstar's twin sister. Her and Northstar have really cute abilities together. I think when they're together, they can glow. Phantom X is a part of the weapons program. He's Weapon 13, and he's a fun Frenchman who's like, if Deadpool was serious, he'd be Phantom X. And also, Phantom X has the coolest outfit, looking like he's in Organization 13. Fly as hell. Also, unlike Deadpool, I don't think we see Phantom X's face at all, or at least I've never seen it. Wolverine is there, of course. You know him, you love him. Silver Fox, who is Wolverine's ex-girlfriend that you see get brutally murdered by Sabretooth in the previous episode with a similar title to this one, Weapon X Lies and Videotape, which makes it even funnier that he's here with them on this mission. Cyborg is another one that sounds familiar, like I should know who that is, and I can't wait for them to show up in this show because I need to see the character Cyborg. They sound so, you know, 90s extreme that I need to know. I need to know how cool they looked. Mastodon is hot as hell, and that's all I know about him. I think he has super strength, but he's hot as hell. And then over there is your boy Bucky, Winter Soldier. Weapon 6 has a lot to do with Luke Cage, if you guys have ever seen the Luke Cage show. I have not yet, but I heard it's really good. I'm mostly familiar with Luke from the comics. Ant is something that I'm not quite sure about, loving to know more. I think it might actually show up again in the show. Garrison Kane is Rex Blode, who got killed earlier in the episode because he was in a plane crash. He's just dead. And like Suicide Squad, they do kill off one of the members to show you that this is a dangerous mission. They don't just kill off one of them, but they kill one off right away so that you know this is dangerous. And we knew we couldn't keep Garrison around. His face was too expressive. He was too joyous. He had too much love in his heart, and they killed him immediately. Sabretooth is there. Agent Zero, who's Maverick, who's here with us, who has the coolest mask ever. Kimura is that one name who is making me think that X-23 is going to be an adult, which I don't want. If they do introduce X-23 in this continuity, I want her to be a teenager at the oldest, because the whole Born Sexy Yesterday thing, I want her to be a kid and kind of grow up in this place. I want her to be the new surrogate character that takes over for Jubilee as the young character that all the group has to be a village to help raise. This way, if you have a kid X-23, maybe Wolverine will actually be a parent this time. But Kimura's her handler, and I think that's only the case when she's an adult. And then we have Worm. It's not Maggot, who I thought this was. We see Maggot later. Well, we see him for 5 seconds before he turns into a brood. Thank goodness, because his power is actually pretty gross. One of the most interesting things we learned from these DVDs is that I think Morph was right. Cornelius probably did inject himself with brood because he's doing it to everybody else. And, well, you got the Lizard and Sauron, who have both turned themselves into anthropomorphic lizards and dinosaurs respectively. Why wouldn't you inject yourself with the brood if you're a mad scientist? You're a mad scientist. When I saw Omega Red in this tank, I was like, things are about to get real. Omega Red is another great character from the Marvel vs. Capcom games. And I mean, he's a great character in general. He's just, and me and my buddies were also discussing, why is he down here? Probably as a failsafe. Hey, there's some sensitive stuff. Maybe if Wolverine comes down here, we'll unleash Omega Red so that the brood, because the brood won't really affect him. I can see them trying to work out a way to combine him with a brood. Even though the brood doesn't really affect him, I can see them trying to use science to make it work. I can see the Russians throwing a ton of money at that problem and them not being able to fix it, but taking that money anyway and just keeping him here on ice. But also I can also see him break glass in case of Wolverine. And, well, they broke the glass accidentally. It's like a fire being lit in a place with a sprinkler system. Game over, man! Game over! Sorry, this is the show of the year. One of my favorite things in the world is seeing a comic book cover get recreated in a new medium. Probably the best parts of the Batman Superman movie is when they recreate comic book covers. The Thing did it with the Superman car lifting scene, which is one of my favorite covers, is Superman lifting that car and that one dude going, "Oh my god!" in the front. This is also a dope-ass comic book cover. We get 2 covers in this episode. It's not just this one. So I'm hoping we get the super cool Wolverine cover where he's crucified on the giant X. Especially since with as much death and destruction as you're putting in this, you might as well. We saw a random scientist's arm just off. Also, rest in peace, Maverick. You had the coolest mask. They also give us the Aliens movie shot. It feels like Studio Mir is having a genuinely fun time working on this show. Morph uses the option in Fallout that lets you talk your way out of a situation instead of fighting, and convinces these guys, hey, let's actually go back and save Wolverine. Sure, Wolverine just wants to get his adamantium back. That might be the only thing that we could do to save him now. It's actually a pretty brilliant plan, and it gets Wolverine his adamantium back. Win-win. And it also takes him off the table for being Death, Apocalypse's death, which means there's only one more option, and there's a lot of clues where that's going. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to be a jackass and spoil it for anybody, but they are putting down heavy clues, and it's a cute little fun mystery if you don't know what it is to go and figure it out. You ever get so mad for somebody reading you that you turn into somebody who uses a weapon that would eventually kill this character in canon? I love Morph turning into Cyclops and being the Cyclops everybody thinks that Cyclops actually is. This is what people think he's like. And it's great because it's just what Wolverine needed to come out of hiding and attack. Hey, so Morph is dying, right? We see everybody leave at the end of this episode. And Morph just looks a little injured. We got claws impaled in chest. That should be more than a little injured. There should be some lung failure about to go on here. And of course, turning into Jean actually works. And Wolverine backs off, and this must be brutal on poor Morph's feeling. I gotta be Jean, and yes, the answer unfortunately is yes. That or dye your hair. If you have red hair, there's a good chance that might just do it. Morph turns into Spider-Man, and oh my god, look how beautiful he is. Look at my boy. Please just make the Spider-Man version of this already. Everybody's on board, just do it. This has to be a teaser for that, right? Spider-Man confirmed. Damn, it looks so good. Since fire's all around him, I also see him landing flat on the ground, and then this place exploding, taking the scientist woman who he had to save with it. Our boy is back.
Let's go, bub.
Once those claws came on, we get a fantastic action sequence where Wolverine does the Avengers spin around action sequence by himself. I love when Mir starts cooking like this. And it's like, well, why did he need the metal claws in the first place? Probably because breaking them off every time he uses them sucks ass. Have you ever bent back your fingernail? Imagine that times 10. And then times that by 3. Also, apparently, the adamantium was keeping him in check, keeping his healing factor or whatever from mutating him further into a noseless animal we know and love in the future. Even though in this timeline, he was blessed to keep his nose. God bless. Our second comic book cover, everybody. This one is the one that got me the most hype. I saw this cover in the trailer and lost my mind. And then when I saw it again here, my mind was once again lost. And just like that, all the Brood are taken care of. I don't think the Brood are taken care of. We still have to meet Brew, our favorite little guy. If you were wondering what happened to Maverick, they make sure to show you he is dead. He is dead on the ground, and now his corpse is on fire. And I was mourning him, and then they gave me Battle Damage Wolverine and Sabretooth, so I'm okay. Maverick who? Lady Deathstrike's like, girl, come on. It ain't worth it. Just cut your losses. Get out of there while the getting is good. Do not do it. Run away. Don't let crazy stick in you. This man, this monster, bub. Don't let other people define you. I love you.